It's cold out there right now, and I'm not talking about the temperature. We are still in the middle of summer. I'm talking about the housing market. Hey, thanks for tuning in. My name is Mac Rogers. I'm a real estate broker here in the San Francisco Bay Area. Welcome to the channel. Quick housekeeping. If you like the video, please click the like and share button, and you might want to consider subscribing. I post videos every week regarding the local Bay Area real estate market, as well as what's going on nationwide. On to the video. The driving force that sent house prices through the roof were low financing costs, excess savings, and the demand for more space, especially during the pandemic-induced economy. Now, it's as if someone flipped the switch. The previous challenge of a housing shortage is still there. However, home buyers are now staring down the barrel of a gun, if you will. Home prices are still at astronomical levels, and the Federal Reserve continued fight against inflation is or has completely slowed down the market. It's like Chairman Powell is that guy from The Incredibles that shoots a gun and freezes everything.
Frozo! Yeah!
After every Fed meeting, mortgage rates increase. I was just on one of my open houses this weekend, and every potential buyer that came in had a property that they were still selling and still on the market. I asked them how things are going, and the word every single one of them used to describe it was slow. I think that's an understatement. I truly believe that we just got pushed into a housing recession. Obviously, the pandemic didn't help. It accelerated and exacerbated the whole situation, and the reality was a slowdown was going to be inevitable, but not like this. No one expected this. All the most recent data that have come out from the National Association of Realtors or Mortgage Bankers Association or other industry metrics doesn't look good. While the numbers are not that bad yet, I think the next set will show how badly things are in the future. To highlight this issue of affordability, Zillow's most recent housing market report said that monthly mortgage payments in the US were up 4.5% from May to June, which is not bad, but if you compare that from 1 year ago, it's up a staggering 62.2%. Let me repeat that, 62.2%. That means if you bought a house, your monthly mortgage payment was $2,500 last June. In June of 2022, that monthly mortgage payment is over $4,000. That's insane. Back then or last year, lots of consumers were sitting on a ton of cash, and that also helped fuel the big demand in housing. Stock market was soaring, and here in the Bay Area, where a lot of employees' income, or maybe I should say fortune, is tied into their stock options, that really had a huge impact on our market. Let me give you an example of how this is playing out right now. One buyer I met had to slash their budget by $500,000 if they still wanted to buy a house in the neighborhood that they wanted, from $2 million to $1.5 million. Now I know what some of you are probably saying, boo-hoo, that's a nice problem to have, right? But think about that for a moment. That's a 25% drop in what you can afford. That's huge. That completely kicks you out of whatever neighborhood that you were searching in. Freddie Mac said that the average rate for a 30-year fixed rate mortgage was 5.54% as of July 21. We haven't seen mortgage rates this high since the foreclosure crisis. And some people will tell you that's nothing. It's still relatively low compared to historical rates. But you have to remember, home prices are not the same. That is why these rates are affecting affordability severely. Look, it's not like no one wants to buy a house. It's just the reality of sky-high home prices and ever-increasing mortgage rates that still continues to climb have stopped home buyers at their tracks. Again, the data supports this. Most recently, the number of applications for home mortgages and refinances was at its lowest in 22 years. Refinance is understandable and again likely expected since there were a lot of homeowners that refinanced last year. What wasn't expected was the sharp decline in purchase application. And the decline is for all types of loans, both conventional and government loans. Inflation, recession, and other economic factors are weighing heavily on home buyers, and the impact is huge. As I have mentioned, all the most recent numbers show decline. Sales of existing homes fell 5.4% from May to June, but when compared to 1 year ago, that drop is much steeper, 14.2%. Simply put, home prices have risen too fast in a short period of time, which everyone has been saying for a while now, but it was aided by low mortgage rates. But now, mortgage rates have also risen higher and faster than anyone has anticipated. I guess we can have one or the other, but not both. Clearly wreaking havoc on the housing market now. The average price of an existing home in the US is currently at $416,000. That's a record, and that's up 13.4% from a year ago. That, I believe, is 124 months of straight appreciation. We still have a big problem with supply. Just because no one is buying doesn't mean we have solved the problem of supply. We're something short like 3 to 4 million housing units. Now, you would think that with demand outpacing supply, home builders would be falling all over themselves to meet this demand, right? Sadly, no. And here's why. Many home builders are getting priced out as well, so to speak. Builders are having issues with production bottlenecks, whether it's because labor shortage or material shortage or both, and then add to that the cost of these two things also increasing along with inflation. Some builders are adding escalation clauses to their contracts, while others are just completely stopping construction. And oh, by the way, buyer traffic for new construction homes are also down. As a result of all these factors, home builder sentiment went down in July, the lowest level since May of 2020. That was right smack during the pandemic when we didn't know what was going to happen. They said that this was the largest one-month decline in the 37-year history of the series. The housing market index had been trending down gradually since the start of the year, but now the decline is steeper than at the equivalent time 7 months into the housing crisis. In short, it suggests significant further deterioration in home building. In terms of actual numbers, month-to-month construction starts are down 2% and down 6.3% from a year ago. So we're kind of back to what comes first, the chicken or the egg. What I mean by this is that at a time when we're supposed to be building more housing to meet demand, home builders are actually slowing down or stopping again because they don't want to be left holding the bag again. They don't know what the economy will look like and when buyers will come back. There's no other way to interpret these numbers. We are in the midst of a slowdown that could turn into a full-blown housing recession if home prices remain elevated. I think, or I guess, it's easy to ascertain what comes next in terms of where home prices are headed. At the end of the day, there will be more and more housing inventory that will start to pile up, and eventually the competition will become price. Too much inventory and not enough buyers will drive prices down. And we are starting to see that already. I don't have to cite you statistics, just look around your neighborhood or check online. Price drops are happening everywhere. We haven't seen this much price drops for the last several years. Some real estate agents don't even know what this means. All this fight against inflation is starting to have its desired effects, not in terms of inflation going down yet, but in terms of cooling off the economy and by extension, the housing market. The questions now are not will home prices go down and when, but rather how much home prices will go down and how long will it last, because it's already here. Before I end this video, I want to share with you the latest report from the National Association of Realtors pending home sales. Why is this an important number? It's because pending home sales shows us what actual closed transactions might look like the next 30 to 60 days when these pending contracts eventually close. And if you want to guess, the numbers are bad. After a slight increase from the last report, this time we are starting to reflect what is currently happening in the market. Pending home sales decreased in June according to the National Association of Realtors. All 4 major regions posted month-over-month and year-over-year declines. The biggest decline happened here in the Western region. Here's a quick regional breakdown of the pending home sales index. The Northeast down 6.7% month over month and down 17.6% year over year. The Midwest index went down 3.8% month over month and down 13.4% year over year. The South index went down 8.9% month over month and 19.2% year over year. The West index is down 15.9% month over month and a huge 30.9% year over year. Overall, the pending home sales index dropped 8.6% month to month and 20% year to year. According to Lawrence Yun, contract signings to buy a home will keep tumbling down as long as mortgage rates keep climbing, as has happened this year to date. There are indications that mortgage rates may be topping or very close to a cyclical high in July. If so, pending contracts should also begin to stabilize. Translation: when the Feds stop their rate increases, we should start to see rates stabilize and also the housing market should follow. However, I don't believe that we see sales start to climb until rates go back down to below 5%. According to the report, it was 80% more expensive to buy a home this June when compared to June of 2019. That's a huge jump. No wonder buyers are starting to dwindle. Income has to increase or follow. Those same buyers that bought back in 2019, roughly a quarter of them won't even be qualified to buy a house now. That's because price and mortgage both went up drastically. As a result of all these things, it's projected that home sales will be down by 13% this year. The projection is that when mortgage rates stabilize around 6% and we don't have high unemployment numbers, we should start to see home sales go up again in 2023. I believe that there will be a short period of time when we start to see prices retreat if mortgage rates stay between 5.75 and above 6%. At these rates, it's simply too expensive to buy a house at current prices. Something has to adjust, and I think it will be home prices. It's really inflation that we need to keep an eye out. If it starts going down, mortgage rates will follow, and I believe that we start to see more buyers come back again and start taking advantage of all this increase in inventory. Hey, thanks for watching the video. If you're thinking of buying a home and this whole video or whatever else you watch or read online has got you concerned, I say evaluate your needs, talk to your lender, and take a look at your numbers and see what makes sense for you. Making a home buying and selling decisions based solely on what you watch on YouTube or what you read online won't give you a clear picture of what's right for you. Thanks again, and have a great day.